So Dogecoin and crypto holders received a massive warning and slap from the biggest investor in the world. Let's talk about it. He said at the Berkshire Hathaway annual shareholder meeting on Saturday that crypto is not a productive asset and it doesn't produce anything tangible. He also said that whether it goes up or down in the next year or 5 or 10 years, I don't know. But the one thing I'm pretty sure of is that it doesn't produce anything. It's got a magic to it and people have attached magics to lots of things. He then compared it to things that generate other types of value. If you said that for a 1% interest in all the farmland in the United States, pay our group $25 billion, I'll write you a check this afternoon. For $25 billion, I now own 1% of the farmland. If you offer me 1% of all the houses in the country and you want another $25 billion, I'll write you a check. Now if you told me you own all of the Bitcoin in the world and you offered it to me for $25, I wouldn't take it because what would I do with it? I'd have to sell it back to you one way or another. It isn't going to do anything. The apartments are going to produce rent and the farms are going to produce food. Assets, to have value, have to deliver something to somebody. And there's only one currency that's accepted. You can come up with all kinds of things, but in the end there is only one money. And there's no reason in the world why the US government is going to let Berkshire money replace theirs. And then Charlie Munger said something similar in the same discussion. He said that, in my life, I try and avoid things that are stupid and evil and make me look bad in comparison to somebody else, and Bitcoin does all three. In the first place, it's stupid because it's still likely to go to zero. It's evil because it undermines the Federal Reserve System. And third, it makes us look foolish compared to the communist leader in China. He was smart enough to ban Bitcoin in China. Now, all I have to say about this is that cryptos like Bitcoin and Dogecoin facilitate transactions seamlessly in places where it's otherwise difficult to do so. Take the example of Western Union and how Bitcoin and Dogecoin solve the problem of sending money anytime, anywhere with very low transaction fees. Also, Bitcoin and Dogecoin stand for freedom and decentralized finance, which is largely missing from traditional finance. And this is exactly why I choose Doge over fiat money. There are other factors like the deflationary nature of Dogecoin, but I'm sure you all are already aware of them. Talking about Dogecoin, according to Whale Stats, Doge is one of the most used smart contracts among the top 500 BSC whales in the last 48 hours. Its trading volume spiked amid Whale's utility, which placed Doge among the most used smart contracts among the top BSC whales. Aside from this, Dogecoin also ranks among the top 10 holdings of the top 100 BSC whales. Data provided by Into the Block indicated a rise in the volume of on-chain Dogecoin transactions greater than 100K, as the total worth soared to highs of $2.59 billion on April 25. Into the Block also noted that this was the highest volume since late March, as it made up almost 94% of the total volume. But then there's another research that came out today that paints a clearer picture. So online searches for Buy Dogecoin exploded 392% on April 25, the day the $44 billion Twitter deal hit the news. Also, Google searches for how to buy Dogecoin also increased 301% on the same day, as well as what is Dogecoin, which rose 237%. And yet another research came out today, which is much more bearish than these two. So it says at a market capitalization of $18 billion, the trading volume for Dogecoin declined by 15% within the last 24 hours. Similarly, in the last 2 days, transaction volume for the Doge embarked on a steady decline. Standing at 231.4 M at the time of making this video, Doge shed 10% of its transaction volume between 28 and 29 April. The last 2 days were marked with a spike in whale transaction count for transactions over 100K. Standing at 70 at the time of this press, Doge recorded a 27% increase in these transactions from 387 to 494 in the last 2 days. However, for transactions over $1 million, the whale transaction count within the same period declined by 8% from 25 to 23. Standing at 509, Doge recorded a 45% decline in its social volume in the last 2 days. Social dominance within the same period also embarked on a downward trend, while recording 5.77% as of 28 April. Also, the social dominance for Doge stood at 2.4%. And then the increased network activity was also recorded on the network in the last days. On a 24-hour window, the number of active addresses that interacted with Doge moved from 126.63K on 28 April to 131.18K on 29 April. There's another thing that's worrying Doge holders right now. So Tesla shares fell 5.5% on Tuesday as rumors emerged that Musk would be selling off some of his extensive holdings of the company's shares to help fund his Twitter purchase. And on April 29, it was confirmed that Musk had sold about $8.5 billion worth of Tesla shares. Musk himself said that the amount would be all the shares of the company he would unload. Because of this, a lot of people were afraid that Musk will sell his Doge and Bitcoin holdings to fund his purchase. If you remember, he previously revealed that apart from shares of his companies, Bitcoin, Doge, and ETH make up the largest part of his personal property. But according to a Reuters report, Musk is looking to raise the rest of his $44 billion bid from banks. This implies that he is continuing to keep his crypto holdings as he previously stated in March of this year. So we really don't have anything to worry about. He'll continue to support Doge in the future as well. Now, another good news for Doge came from the German fashion designer Philipp Plein. So this designer is seeing a growing demand for crypto payments. Its CEO believes his fashion brand could rake in almost $16 million from crypto-savvy clients in 2022. Even though last year, digital assets accounted for roughly 3% of the sales, this year their share is expected to grow to 10%. Coming back to nasty comments on cryptos, Eric Schmidt, Google's CEO from 2001 to 2011, recently said that he's put a little bit of money into cryptos. However, he said he's most fascinated in the Web3 ecosystem, with less interest in Bitcoin or other virtual assets of themselves. And then there was the chairman of the Swiss National Bank, Thomas Jordan, who said that the bank will not have Bitcoin in its reserve currency as it's not good enough for them. However, the institution is still considering the integration of digital currencies. Now, I think people are getting more and more pessimistic about Bitcoin because its correlation with the stock market is rising every day. So Bitcoin's decline has paralleled comparable declines in the stock market in the United States, with its correlation with the tech-heavy Nasdaq composite reaching 0.99 in mid-April. An efficiency score of 1 indicates that the two assets have been moving in lockstep. Another important thing to consider is that Bitcoin and ETH both gained 2% in the past 24 hours. Both crypto combined capitalization reached nearly $1.2 trillion today, with total crypto market capital at $1.9 trillion. And similarly, the S&P 500, Dow Jones Industrial Average, and Nasdaq Composite have all gone up today. The S&P 500 is up 2.3%, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is higher by 1.7%, and the Nasdaq Composite leads the upside with 2.8%. So as I said, the correlation is rising, and this is why people are worried. But still, there's another way to look at it. As per Altcoin Sherpa, the market structure still looks bullish. He said that, as long as these lows are maintained and we still see higher lows, I think the bullish market structure is still intact, still thinking 55K plus in the coming weeks. While commenting on Ethereum prediction, he said that, unlike BTC, ETH is still decently above its last lows and still has a bullish market structure. Would like to see a higher low formed for Ethereum. I think that it's still at the mercy of BTC though, as always. If BTC tanks, so will ETH. In any case, there are some really positive signs coming out for Bitcoin. So according to Glassnode data, the quantity of Bitcoin held by unique entities with a balance of at least 1,000 Bitcoin or whales has grown to its highest levels since September 2021. I think this is highly bullish because this reminds me of the similar shift in September 2021 that preceded the Bitcoin price surge to all-time highs of 69K in November 2021. Talking about another positive news, the United States Secret Service is working hard to crack down on illicit crypto use. So a new report has been issued claiming that the Secret Service has garnered as much as $102 million in illicit crypto funds through fraud-related investigations. This $102 million stems from more than 250 separate cases, many of which involve foreign nationals conducting money laundering schemes and other criminal activities. So this is highly positive because things like this help people trust Bitcoin and Dogecoin more and more. Now coming back to Doge, currently it stands at 13.11 cents. And this downfall is happening because of how the whales have been manipulating the market while accumulating themselves. In any case, do you plan to hold your Doge or do you plan to sell it? Let me know in the comments section below.